Okay, here we are at Payomet's winter headquarters. Kate Dalo, Circus Rigger extraordinaire, is going to teach us a few things about knots. Kate, let's get knotty.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Tiny Tents. My name is Kate. Before I started working at Payomet, I toured a lot with Circus. I worked with Cirque du Soleil, Sino Plus Productions, Cavalier de Seo, and I specialize in acrobatic rigging. And if you don't know, that's pretty much specializing in anything that entails flying, performer flying, any equipment that's in the air, anything that's hanging overhead, down to the truss that's suspended by the ceiling of whatever venue we're in. I absolutely loved it. It was touring all over the world and it was an amazing experience. And I thought I'd spend this episode talking to you guys about some knots that everyone should just know. I'm going to go over 3 basic knots that everyone should know in life. You can use these for loops, hanging your ropes, tightening, and just general knowledge. They're applicable to all kinds of problems. And then I'll end the episode with a special knot that's pretty specific to performance and theater. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's get knotty. Our first knot is going to be called the Alpine Butterfly. What's really amazing about the Alpine Butterfly, this is a loop knot. What's really amazing is you don't need the end of a rope to tie this knot. You can work in the middle of the rope, as you can see here. Another thing that's awesome about the Alpine is you can really decide easily how big you want your loop to be. So let's say I want my loop to be this big. The first thing I'm going to do is pull out approximately the size of the loop I want. And then this is really simple, guys. You're going to want to corkscrew 1 time. So you see I've created this first X in one direction. You're going to pinch that X with 1 finger and do the same move in the same direction. So I've turned the same way twice, and I've created this little hole here in our loop, right? Really simple shape, and it's just 2 twist motions here. Now that I have my little loop, my little eye here, we're gonna take our big loop. So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna hold my eye here. Big loop is gonna come down below our line, over the eye, under. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going underneath everything to the eye and pull that loop through. So this is called the Alpine Butterfly because if you look closely, there's little wings. It looks a bit like a butterfly here. So sorry, you want to see this again?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. It's cool, right? The biggest, coolest thing about this knot is all 3 of these directions you can pull in full force. You're not going to slip this way. You're not going to slip this way. You're not going to slip this way. This is a 3-way strength knot. There's no loose end. Everything here is structural. Fun fact, when you tie a knot in a rope, the rope degrades by about 20% is a good rule of thumb. So if I were to do a break test, which is when you stretch a knot until it breaks to see where the weakest point is, normally you would break in one of these 2 places at about 80% of the rope's full strength. So that's the Alpine Butterfly. I'm going to do it one more time for you guys. So if you're trying to do this at home, maybe with a shoe tie or something. So again, we don't need the end of the rope. Start in the middle. You say what size you want your loop is. Twist, twist, over and around. And you just tighten it up. And what's really another cool thing about this knot is it's easy to adjust. So if I want to make my loop bigger, I just feed it through, smaller, feed it through. And it's 3 directions structural.
Great.
Yeah, really cool. So our next knot is, so the problem with this knot, actually this is really interesting. The problem with this knot is, say I want to tie something through a solid loop. I can't use this knot because I don't have an end to tie through whatever I need to loop around. So we have another knot called the Bowline loop. This knot is used, it's another loop knot. It's again about 20% of the rope's strength at this knot, and you do need the end of a rope, just one end. In ropes terms, you're going to call this your dead end, the short end you're working with, and your live end or your working end. So we're going to pretend this rope is much bigger than it is, and we don't even have this end. If we're working in Circus, you can pretend this is going up 60 feet into a shiv and over to your winch that's going to help you fly. So you only have one end, your dead end, and you want to make a loop. We'll be consistent. So the first step to the bowline is sort of the same as the Alpine. You want to sort of decide how big you want your loop to be. You're going to take your live end and create, for the sake of the video, we'll call it a bunny hole. And it's important that you create the bunny hole by putting the live end underneath. You can see here I'm putting it underneath the loop here, not over, because if you put it over, this will not work. You have to go underneath, creating a bunny hole with the live end underneath the dead end. This relationship is very important. Then you're going to take the end of your rope, your dead end, your bunny, and the bunny, the story of the knot is the bunny comes up through the bunny hole, runs around the live tree, the live end of the rope. So you can see here, this end of the rope has to go around the tree here. And it's important that when the bunny runs around the tree, it needs to go underneath the tree, not over it, under the tree. And the bunny runs back down into the bunny hole. So this shape here is actually an exploded version of a bowline knot. To tighten the knot, it's a little bit tricky. You can't just pull one end or the other. Squeeze the bunny with this end of the loop. So I'm just pinching these together, and then you pull on your live tree, and the loop will tighten. This is a bowline, and this is good if you need to tie a loop through something. So I could have run my bunny around anything before he came up that bunny hole. And this knot, again, is about 80% strength of the entire rope. This is good for anytime you need a loop. You can throw this thing on anything. Like anytime you need a loop at the end of the rope, I recommend this knot, the bowline knot. It's quick, easy, structural, and then you don't look like a granny tying a square knot 3 times. So I'll just do that one more time for you guys.
One more time.
One
yes.
more time. Okay, so I'm deciding this is the size of my loop. I'm making my bunny hole by putting the live end underneath the dead end. My bunny comes up the rabbit hole, runs under and around the live tree, down the back down the rabbit hole. Or, as we like to say in rigging, the rigger walks out of the bar, stumbles around the light post, walks back into the bar. We pinch here, and we pull the light post, and there is your loop. This is called the bowline loop. Very useful if you need the end of your rope to go in or through something.
I don't know who I feel worse for, the bunny or the rigger.
Okay, so for our final knot, I'm going to pull this broomstick out just so we have something to tie around. This is called a clove hitch, and it is not a loop knot. This is a knot you would use if you need to tie your rope to something and it can't slip. If you need something that every time you pull, it's just going to pull tighter and tighter. This is a clove hitch. It's used very commonly in shipping and sailing industries, and of course we use everything in circus. So, the clove hitch is quite simple. If this is what you're going to tie, what you need to tie around, you put your dead end over the pole, and the dead end comes up on the right side of your live end. On the right side of your live end. So you can see the relationship here. The dead end then goes down over the pole on the left side of the live end. So this cross is very important. Up on the left, up on the right, down on the left. This relationship. After you have this and it's wrapped around the pole, you want to put your dead end. So you see this pretty line here? Your dead end wants to follow that up into this crossing. So this, I'm going through this space here and then pull. That's it, guys. That's the clove hitch. It's too simple. And you can pull this as hard as you want. All that's going to happen is that rope is just going to tighten on itself. It's simple, easy to remember, and we use it for everything. Sometimes we throw a little half hitch in as well. A half hitch is anything you put a bite into. A half hitch, you just go like this and like that, and that just keeps your tail tidy and tucked up and away. And this is also not sort of like the Alpine. You can use both ends of this knot. It's a symmetrical knot, so you can actually weight load either side. This knot degrades depending on the diameter of what you're tying around, this knot actually degrades the rope less than the other loop knots because there's less bites.
Kate, I think you need to do that knot again.
Okay, all right, let's do it one more time.
I know you say it's simple, but some people would say it's not.
I see what you did there. Well done. All right, so to do this knot, we go over the pipe, up on the right. I'm getting my left and rights confused. So we go over the pipe, up on the right, cross our live, over the pipe, up on the left. So we've made this shape. We take our dead end and we go and we follow the line of the live end. And there we go. And what we look for in this knot to see that it's done correctly is this rope capturing the 2 wraps. So we have 2 wraps that are going around the broomstick, and then this last wrap is capturing. You sort of get that sort of double X picture there. And that's how you know that knot's done correctly.
See that half hitch again.
Yeah, and then the half hitch is really, this is really just a wraparound, guys. It's a granny knot that goes on a live end. Done.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, guys. And our final, those knots are pretty run-of-the-mill knots. They can be used all over the place, anywhere, anytime you need to use rope in a creative way. This last knot is actually quite specific. It's called a tumble hitch. It has many names: tumble hitch, thief knot, highwayman's knot. It's essentially used in performances, or when you need a quick release effect, something to fall from the sky that was, before it fell, safe to be above your head. Yeah, so let's get into it. Before I do the trick, I'm actually just going to demonstrate the knot on this broomstick, even though we're not going to drop a broomstick in this video.
Thank God.
Thank God. So
OSHA would not be happy about that.
You know, we respect OSHA rules. OSHA's saved many lives. All right, so this knot is actually a little bit complicated. I'm going to try to go slow. I'll tie it on this broomstick first before we get into a trick. So for this knot, you do it in the middle of the rope. You don't need an end, but you want your dead end, believe it or not, to be longer than your live end, traditionally, because this is going to be your quick release line. This is going to be, your dead end is going to be what you pull to release the knot and drop whatever is hanging. So I'm going to leave myself a nice long dead end, just a short little live end. And to start this knot, you make a bite and you put it over whatever you want to drop. So this is your first shape. Next step, super easy. You make another bite under the object and you come up over it and you make another loop. Right? Simple stuff. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. I'm going to go slow for you guys. You're going to take your super long dead end. It needs to go around your live end. Do you see this? It's going around and it needs to capture it. So this relationship is actually what captures the quick release. This relationship here, if you can see this, the end of your last bite is wrapped around your live end. Now that that's done, you're going to make, you guessed it, another bite on the side that goes up, under, and through the last loop. I know that looks busy, it looks like a lot, but it's not too complicated. Now that your kabuki is tied, you're just going to pull your live end, and it's a little messy, so you just got to work it out. You pull your live end until you have just a little baby loop that is your dead end holding everything together. Right? So now that I have my live end and that's live, I can tie whatever I want on my live end. This is what's going to be holding the object up when it's above head. And this is a relatively safe method. You would never use this knot for life. You would never put someone's life in the hands of this knot. It's a quick release knot. This knot is for effects, scenic effects, props, sort of the oh my gosh moment. And you always have to check manufacturer for weight loads and what's appropriate. But I've used this knot before for these kinds of pranks and stuff. So now that this is on, I don't want to make too much noise. Okay, so the show is on and it's time for the broomstick to drop. And this dead end is pulleyed away off stage where you can't see me. And when it's time, everything's released.
Voila.
Voila. So I'll do that. It's tough with a broomstick. We'll do a little bit of a cooler rendition here. It's going to be tricky because I'm going to tie it over this curved bit here, but I'll talk you through the steps so we know. So we make our bite that just goes over the loop, Our second bite goes under the pipe and through it again. Then we take our dead end, we capture the live end, which just snuck out there. I saw that live end. Capture the live end, make another bite, go under our object. This is tough to see, I know. And we put that inside our loop. Then, when we, I think I got the, oh no, it might work. I'm gonna start over. That was a little messy, guys. We'll give you a nice one. Actually, maybe if I do it to the side, I'll use my finger. We make our live end, goes around, then we take this, we capture it. This also goes around and goes in this way. And I'm just gonna slide that over there. There we go. And I'm just pulling this end so we have just a little bit of loop. I don't know what that is. Oh, I see. So guys, you guys know that ropes are very forgiving when it comes to playing. So I'm just tidying that up so it's a nice, pretty look. Now I'm just gonna throw a butterfly, you guys know this one, into the end of this rope. Here, good. So that will hold up our effect until we're ready. Oh, it got stuck. There we go. Until it drops. So that's called the tumble knot, the tumble hitch. I hope you guys enjoyed our episode of Tiny Tents, Let's Get Knotty. All of these knots are available on YouTube searches if you guys want to see. I recommend animated knots is a really good way to practice and learn some knots.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in, and
thank you, Kate. Thank you so much. And our next chapter, our next class will be for couples only, tying the knot. Okay.
We can get into it.